First couple aren't the only ones that had a long night with all those inaugural balls. A busload of Nashvillians who traveled to Washington to go to the inauguration got back into town just before 8 o'clock this morning. They weren't too tired or too cold to share their experience with us.
It was very emotional. People were crying. There were people all the way from newborns all the way to elderly people in wheelchairs and walkers and canes, and it was great. People were crying, people were hugging each other, people were shouting, "We can, yes we can." So it was great. It was great. Had a good time.
It was really, really great, but it was very, very cold.
I know a lot of people have been through some things with racism, but this time it was a completely different playing field. I'm 62, retired now. It was out of sight. I'm never going to ever forget it.
The trip was organized through a local church and included students from Antioch and McGavock High Schools.
Meanwhile, a bus filled with Nashvillians say going to the inauguration was a trip of a lifetime. They rolled into a Rivergate Walmart just before 8 o'clock this morning.
The camaraderie was out of sight. You had to be there to really feel it. I know a lot of people have been through some things with racism, but this time it was a completely different playing field.
This trip has really been an experience because most of the time we as young people, we hear the older folks saying, y'all just don't know how bad we've had it and y'all don't know what we've been through, and now we can say that we're here to help, and with Obama we can help him make a change in our older and younger people's lives.
The unofficial estimate is that nearly 2 million people watched the inauguration in person.
It was really nice to see everybody unite and all the people just come together.
It was the chance of a lifetime for these Tennesseans to watch number 44 take office. People from all over the mid-state made the journey to our nation's capital to watch President Barack Obama's inauguration. News 2's Christine Medella introduces us to them as they share their experience.
One word, awesome.
It was a gorgeous day, a glorious day, and I'll never forget it.
There were so many people there.
One by one, people stepped off the bus and shared their stories.
It was very emotional. People were crying. There were people all the way from newborns all the way to elderly people in wheelchairs and walkers and canes, and it was great. People were crying, people were hugging each other, people were shouting, "We can, yes we can."
You had to be there to really feel it.
And one by one, they told News 2 what witnessing history felt like.
It really brought tears to almost everybody's eyes around us.
It was more than a trip. You ought to have seen the people, how they come together, all races. I never witnessed anything like it.
I come from a very divided family, and so this was really special for me to be here.
This trip was truly an experience for me as a young person. I'm 14 years old.
I'm 15.
These teens weren't even old enough to cast a ballot for Barack Obama, but the message was not lost on them.
And now we can say that we're here to help, and with Obama, we can help him make a change.
From the young to the old, these Middle Tennesseans say they come back to their home state re-energized, inspired, and touched by what they witnessed.
I'm never going to ever forget it. I wish everybody could have been there.
We love it.
This is the medicine that this country needed.
It was fun and exciting because we got to see Obama.
And it was just beautiful, 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 something I thought I'd never get to see. We all came together. It wasn't a black thing or a white thing. It was just history.
Christine Medella, News 2.
Some very excited Obama supporters are back in Nashville today after traveling more than 600 miles to Washington for the inauguration.
Everybody was just rallying around each other and helping, and you know, and that's something that you don't see a lot of, but it was, the love was just there yesterday. It was great.
The group of 100 stepped off the bus after making what some called the trip of a lifetime. Everyone we talked to couldn't say enough about the wave of emotion that swept through that crowd of hundreds of thousands.
It was very emotional. People were crying. There were people all the way from newborns all the way to elderly people in wheelchairs and walkers and canes, and it was great. People were crying, people were hugging each other, people were shouting, "We can, yes we can." So it was great. It was great.
For those who couldn't make the trip, the group brought back plenty of souvenirs, from tote bags, hats, and scarves to copies of the Washington Post with the headline reading, Obama takes oath.
After making the trip of a lifetime, a group of Obama supporters arrived back in Nashville today, tired but full of hope.
I know Barack represents hope, prosperity, and stood on the back of a lot of people to get to where he is today, and we're just so proud for this moment.
Well, proud is one way to put it. There were grins from ear to ear as people stepped off the bus today in Nashville after the more than 600-mile trip. Many talked about how special they felt to be a part of history.
Growing up as a young man, going to Metro public schools, the teachers always told me I can do anything and be anything I want. And really never thought president was even possible for an African American, and I see it. So the glass ceiling has been broken, and we can do anything.
This trip will be hard to forget. Just check out some of the souvenirs they came back with. There are Obama hats, scarves, T-shirts, chains, and calendars, and of course the front page of the Washington Post with the headline, "Obama takes off."
Working for you, Channel 4 News at 5 continues.
It just seemed unbelievable. Every once in a while, you just had to kind of stop and pinch yourself and say, is this real? So it was great. It was great.
I think the only thing that would have made the trip so much better if my father had been alive to be here. It was just awesome.
The long bus ride from Washington to Nashville didn't dampen spirits of those who attended yesterday's inauguration. 100 people from Nashville left Sunday night from Rivergate and returned this morning. The principal at Cameron Middle School was among those who made the trip. Now, Beverly Bell has a new lesson to pass on to students.
I want to share with them that they can have dreams, they can achieve, they can believe, and they can strive for whatever it is that their heart and their souls and minds desire.
The group came back with all sorts of inaugural souvenirs, everything from calendars to keychains, T-shirts, hats, scarves. But the one thing most people said they will remember is the magnitude of the emotions as millions cried together and hugged each other as they witnessed the inauguration on the National Mall.